Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 29th of March. Looking at the euro dollar first, and well, yesterday we saw a continuation to the downside here. We've seen a little bit of a blip up so far. Whether this would come to much, we'll see. It was potential for us to run down to the 112 area. We're only 32 pips away from that now, maybe just even below that into those bodies there. We could find some sort of support at some point. Whether this is it, we'll see. There's arguably some divergence into yesterday's lows there, but it carried on. We'll see. I prefer to just see the downside here. However, I do wonder if he was trying to hammer out some sort of bottom yesterday. It could have been. But the truth will tell this morning, actually, I should imagine. We'll see if we break these lows here. It's the clearest way I could be doing. Targets today, would be down towards that 112.06 sort of area, maybe a bit more. So not big movements in this market at the moment. But it hasn't been for a long time, apart from the odd days when we get major news. And today isn't one of those days of major news. So that's pretty much the euro. I'm just checking. There's no euro data out today at all. There's some US data this afternoon, but it's lowish level data at 145. 12:30. We've got a bit of personal spending, etc. That might give a little bit of a kick to the market. The personal spending. It gives an idea of the potential for the US consumer. So of what they're doing, so we may get a bit of a blip around 12:30 today, but aside of that, there's nothing that will affect this euro dollar, right? Apart from, of course, Brexit. Moving on, and well, what have we got here then? Pound really had a solid old down day in the end yesterday. It looked at one stage it had a bit of a possibility of a retrace, but it didn't do too much of it and sold, which points to possible further weakness. There is another vote going on today, I understand, probably about 7 o'clock. It'll be later on today by the time it happens. I think by the time it happens we'll have stopped trading, but so there's no really point of guessing what's going to happen from there, but it's expected that it will probably fail. Looking down the time frames here, so as I say, solid down day yesterday in the end, with after the initial attempts of pushing up here, it failed and sold back. The moment selling off, maybe we'll get a bit of a retrace and it will continue to that downside, but there's certainly risk in this market at the moment. Okay, that's the pound. Dollar yen. Dollar yen. Yesterday, I mean, it was looking like it was going to push up further. It may yet still push further. It's put a higher low in, and it could push up further. The risk we have, as I keep mentioning, is that it's a risk currency. So any real heebie-jeebies out there, and the money starts running back into the yen and strengthening it. So it spoils the technical trades here. But well, solid up move through in the Asian session there. Not too sure what caused that, but maybe we'll see a bounce of that. It has got the daily pivot untouched below at the moment. Hard one to I mean, yesterday I was looking at this in the afternoon. It did look like the potential, and it may grind out a bit of a continuation. We have got some obviously resistance points as it comes past these the trend lines from the highs there. Okay, Aussie dollar. So let's take the higher time frame here. It's certainly not one of my favourites to be day trading. I keep talking about, but it does produce a few pips here and there, and it's not even really doing too much for the swingers this week at the moment. Very tight price action where it's sitting at the moment. It could I'm looking down at this is this is the 30-minute chart I've put on today here. Let's just switch that to a 60. Give me a bit more of a chart now. Well, bearish engulfing almost sitting there at the moment. If that was to hold on, perhaps we'll sell back off again. Saw it yesterday, really. It just sort of it just held on for a little while long, pushed up, and you saw this sort of eventually push past a certain point about 10 o'clock, and then off it rolled back to the lows. Could see a similar picture here. It does look weakish, and fundamentally there's flaws in the whole system there. So Canadian dollar, well, it's trying its best to push up here. US dollar, that is, and it's strongest currency is the US dollar at the moment, really. Double topped eventually yesterday, affected from that. Whether that will hold, we'll see. It's probably daily wise, no real divergence there. Very choppy day yesterday, and we're seeing this a lot at the moment. Perhaps best steered clear of, although with this higher lows and the higher highs we're just seeing on this 60-minute chart, maybe from a daily perspective it could bounce back towards its R1. Any failure of current price levels, which would be obvious stop at sort of areas, may see it run back down to the S1, but R1 looks more favourable at the moment in terms of trend. That's pretty much it news wise today. Then just to summarise, then with this morning actually we've got some UK data, current account data, quarterly GDP, which is not had the biggest of moves because it's a new way of measuring it, or this new interval. Not seeing a lot of volatility off this yet, but may start happening. The intention is to reduce the volatility by bringing something out more frequently, but we'll see. Net lending to individuals and that sort of data is out amongst that at 9:30, so it will be quite key, I guess, in some respects. 12:30 we've got the Canadian GDP. That again is a monthly figure. Sorry, the UK details is a quarterly. I thought it was on the monthly factor. It must have been. I've seen one recently on a monthly. This is the quarterly one. It's the final quarter. Probably because we're pretty good at counting beans over here. Don't have so many to count. It normally comes in quite in line. So with previous, any slight adjustments may create some volatility. Beg your pardon on that one. The Canadian one is the monthly one. I'm looking at there, and so that's at 12:30. It does give a blips more so, but generally only when it's really a big miss or pass. There's some other data coming out Canadian wise there, and then US core PCE price index and personal spending. Personal spending again, as I said earlier, may just create a bit of volatility in these markets. Chicago PMI out at 145. It's quite a low value number in terms of trading, and consumer sentiment at 2. So a few things this afternoon. Got FOMC speaker at 4, but I'm sure most of you will be rolled up by then. And the parliamentary vote, well, I believe that's going to be later, and it seems to be around about 7 o'clock when we see the answers. But it's a Friday, so being Poets' Day, they may want to be voting a bit earlier. Right, that's it for me. Have a great day. Bye for now.